is identify as fallen. They have fallen, fall from grace, they fall away from the gospel. And then we have Philadelphia, the pioneer spirit of prophecy, Bible believers, Seventh-day Adventists. Remember, you have anybody here that have issues with the spirit of prophecy, right? Anyone present here that have issues with the spirit of prophecy, right?
No.
Nope. All right. I want to tell you something if you have. Because the spirit of prophecy has been given for us to make it into the kingdom.
Amen.
What is given in those writings is a treasure house. So who have problem with that? They need to work on themselves. That is the real issue here, right? So Laodicea, the Laodicean is the Organization of General Conference Seventh-day Adventists. So I make sure that's clear. So when you're addressing who is Laodicea, you know who it is. It is that organization that have headquarters in Washington, D.C. That is the head of Laodicea.
That's true.
That is where they operate from. The global, the all over America, the Caribbean region, all over, all in Africa, all over the world. And the number they say is global 22 million. Right? But we looked at that last time. So state and government recognition. This is where Laodicea is looking for recognition under the state. Not recognized by God. This church age is not recognized by God. Just imagine that. Following the way of the world, the rich, the increase with goods, they have need of nothing. Rejected God's message for the world. You all remember what took place in 1888? Everybody understand the 1888 message, right?
Amen.
We need to understand our history already. And these things will be coming at us. When the crisis comes, each one will have to stand on their own. Each one of us will have to stand on our own. So this is why God is calling us not to be plain Christians, but really doing your homework. Attacking God's remnant people. Because they identify there's a lot of Protestant churches out there that almost have the same name, and they don't take one another to the court. The Adventists is the only church in existence that taken their brethren to court for using the name Seventh-day Adventists. And all that has been hidden, and that began all the way from 1979, when Neil Wilson was president. And when he came up with that concept, and he took it to the Adventist lawyers and then with anybody at the church, the committee of the elders influenced each other there. They hired a Catholic lawyer, a man by the name of Vincent Farret. And he came up with the strategy of how to get rid of these independents. You want to trademark people that Seventh-day Adventists, trademark the acronym, the SDA, and other list of words that from that period they started to do that. And one by one they went at these independents and taking them down. They went to a guy, he was living in Miami. They break the guy, they had court orders to seize his books, with the prophecy books. The guy gets so discouraged, the guy born in America, the guy say, you know what? I don't want to hear anything concerning Seventh-day Adventists. He gave it up, he leave America, he go to live in Africa. He said, I don't want to banter these people. Because you profess to be Adventists and you come and you're attacking me, taking me to court for my literature and all this kind of thing. And then they show, for using the name Seventh-day Adventists, they being attacked, a worldly church, a church full of sin, a pompous church. If you have eyes to see, you'll see that. We don't need future evidence to prove these things. Now, God's view of this church, it is wretched. miserable, poor, blind, and naked. This is the characteristic of the church. And who want to live independence? Who want to live here to go back there? You want to go back under these principles that God is showing how that condition is? You might have a nice building structure. You might have a well-full assembly congregation. You might have influential businessmen and things among them. But this is the condition of God sees it. Wretched, miserable, poor, blind, and naked in his eyes. And this is the counsel that he's given. Now God's antidote for this church. Remember we saw that the assault that is to come upon the remnant in Revelation 13. Right next to it, chapter 14, God gave the antidote how to encounter or to face that assault when it comes. The three angel messages. We discover that right there. And chapter 15, we saw God's people being delivered. So all the assault, whatever they come with and they plotting and they planning, you don't have to listen to that thing. You listen to what God is showing. And chapter 16, we saw how God will unbelief, we said the plagues, right? So God's antidote is, I counsel thee. God is sending out a counsel, pleading, buy me of gold, tried in fire, conditions to be rich towards God. This is what God is calling. White raiment, you don't have it? And what is white raiment in scripture identifiers? The righteousness of saints, the righteousness of Christ. Remember in Revelation 12, they overcame him by the blood of the Lamb, which is the life of Christ. A lot of people studying the gospel, but they're not seeing Christ. And he's calling them to be clothed with this raiment. Remember the man that was found in the banquet in the Holy Kingdom without the garment? Remember we saw that? And when he was speechless, that's the parable that Christ showed. In order to enter into the kingdom, you must be clothed with Christ's righteousness as your experience. During thy nakedness, anoint thine eyes with eye salve, which is to see. The problem with this generation, they do not have discernment. Even in that generation where the world do not have discernment, the churches do not have discernment, that's why we see what taking place in the land. Corruption upon corruption, government, fooling people, government, all this type of thing, because the generation do not have spiritual discernment. A lot of people have been asking for that when they pray to God. They need to be asking for that in this time. God searcheth the hearts. And many as I love, they are deceived by the leaders. Most of these people out in our organization are deceived by the leaders. See, I rebuke, chasten, called to be zealous for God's cause. Are they really zealous for God's cause? If Adventism in the world outside there, courting Rome, embracing the papal power,